Hi, 7th grade euphonium players. It's Mr. Y, obviously. Your finals for this year in the Essential Elements book, back in the back of it in the individual study part, are number 189, breath control exercise, number 191, flexibility study number 2, 194 is finger patterns, and 198 is chromatic challenge. I'm going to walk you through these, show you some of the tough spots in each of them, and then I'll play a performance of each of them so you can see what it sounds like too. Okay. 189 breath control exercise. This is really all about taking long breaths. Take a nice big breath so you can play through these long notes. It's just a chromatic scale in each one of the things. So the notes are actually pretty easy. In the first part, for instance, you've got F, E natural, middle valve, E flat, first valve, D, and then you just go back up to E flat and E natural and F. But that does all have to be on one long breath too. So. Nice, clear, smooth sound is what you're going for there. Next part, you got the B flat, the A natural, remember, middle valve. A flat is first also, and then low G. So it ends up being the same exact fingers for this one, just a partial lower. You start on the B flat. Get a nice big breath to get that nice big full sound there. Third phrase is exactly the same as the first one, actually. A weird sound there at the end. And then the last phrase is exactly the same fingerings again, but this time a partial higher. So it starts on the high B flat, and then goes to A natural, middle valve, A flat, first valve, G, and then back up to A flat, A natural, and B. So. So really the key to this one is, number one, taking nice big breaths, and number two, making sure you start on the right note. First note you start on is F, kind of the middle note with no vowels. Second one starts on low B flat, the low note with no vowels. Third note again, third phrase again starts on F, and then the last phrase starts on the high B flat. Not really a big deal. This one I think is probably the easiest of the four you have this time. Okay. 191, flexibility study number 2. This is all about being able to play a high note and then kind of a medium note with really your air. Remember, you don't want to change your lips a whole lot here. What you want to do is make your air faster for the high note and slower for the low note, or the medium note in this case. So. And then there is a higher note there in the second measure too, I forgot. So the whole first two measures is no vowels. B flat, F, and then it goes up to a high D later on too. And all the phrases are exactly that same thing, just with different valve combinations. So the second phrase is the same thing on second valve. Third phrase is the A flat, first valve. There are a couple of alternate fingerings here in the 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 10th measure. You've got a high B flat, and it says play it with 2 and 3 just to make sure you've got the lip slur. Really, these are all lip slurs. You play the whole two measures on one fingering using your lips to change the notes and your air. Really, they're kind of, it's kind of a misnomer. I don't think you use your lips really to do lip slurs. I think you use your air mostly to do it. So they should be called air slurs, I guess. I don't know. And then in the very last measure, of course, the last two measures, I should say, you have the F and the C with first and third valve. If you have a 4-valve, of course, you can play it with fourth valve, but it should be all one fingering. You should not do it da 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 da. Just plant your first and third finger down and do all the work with your air. That's what you're going for here. That's what this exercise is all about, really. Okay. Okay, 194, finger patterns, is really just about getting the right notes in the right places. These are all pretty easy. It's in the key of concert B flat, except for the first phrase has a couple of E naturals. Okay, so E natural, remember, is second valve. That's the third note of the song. And also remember the natural sign carries through. So that second E in the first measure is also E natural, middle valve. Be careful about that. In the second measure, we have an E natural, but we also have a low B natural. Low B natural is all three valves, or second and fourth if you have it four-valve euphonium. Okay. After that, it gets fairly normal as far as notes go. There is one A flat later on toward the end, second to last measure, but everything else is natural all the way through except for the B's and E's, which are flat. Pretty easy, really. Okay. So, finger patterns. Nary a slur in the whole thing, so they're all tongue. Make sure of that too. Okay, not really a very hard one. Maybe I'm changing my mind. 194 might be the easiest one in the whole bunch. Chromatic challenge, though, is not too hard either. 198, once you get the whole idea of the chromatic scale, and since we did that earlier this year, you shouldn't have a problem with that. Remember, F sharp 2 and 3, G sharp is the same as A flat, first valve. Okay, then we have A natural and F. Okay, now be careful in this version of the chromatic scale, or I should say in 198 chromatic challenge, you have a B flat in the key signature, but not an E flat. So the E's are going to be natural, middle finger. Don't make me show you the finger, please. So 198. A little bit of tricky stuff there in the second line with the C, B natural, B flat A, C, B natural, B flat A. The second one of each one of those two little measures is slurred, and the first one's tongue. So da 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 da. Nothing too serious though, really, in this one. Like I said, if you've been working on this stuff all year long, like stuff like the chromatic scale that we did, 189 or sorry, 198 is going to be really easy. If you've been doing your long notes every day, 189 is going to be really easy. You know, flexibility is not too hard. I don't know. I would almost say 191 maybe would be the hardest one here, just because you really have to get a smooth sound between those two partials, or three partials in this case. And that's something that brass players, you know, struggle with sometimes. So just make sure you're using your fast air and slow air for that. Good luck. Thanks.